Debbie from So Easy, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really cute, very small little zipper pouch to go on your keyring. It'll be great if you're just running out of the shops, you just need to take a bank card, a lip balm, a couple of coins or something with you. You can attach it to your keys. So let's make a start. I have 2 pieces of outer fabric. These have been interfaced, so I've got an iron-on interfacing on the reverse of those. Then exactly the same size, 2 pieces of lining fabric. I've got 2 little pieces here which are going to contrast with my outer fabric. They don't need to be the same as the lining, but they can be if you want. And these are just going to be my little zipper pulls on the end. And then I've got a zip. Mine is ridiculously long, but you don't need yours as long as this. A 7-inch zip or something will be absolutely fine. And the first thing we need to do, get my pins. There we go, is to start adding the fabric to the zip. So with my outer fabric, I've got the zip facing up, so this is the right side of the zip and this is the right side of the outer fabric. I'm just going to place that there. And then underneath, I need the lining fabric. So the lining fabric is going to face the right side of the outer fabric, so they're right sides together. And I'm going to match them up exactly just here and add in some pins down the zipper tape so that's not going to move. Not doing a very good job there. Okay, that's it. So the edge of the zipper tape and the edge of the outer and the lining fabrics both need to be sandwiched together like that. Now you take your zipper foot on your sewing machine and sew along this edge close to the teeth of the zipper, just there. Put a little back stitch at the front and the back end to stop those stitches coming apart, and then we'll do the other side. So this is my first side now completed, and now I need to do the same for the other side. So I'm just going to hold those out the way, and this time, now my zipper, well, no, let's do it the same way, just make it easy. So my zipper is now face up, my outer fabric goes face down, and of course make sure to line up with the existing fabric that you've already got. It's no good sewing it on over there, that's not going to work. So line up just here, and then the lining fabric right sides facing go on the other side. Pop in a pin, and exactly the same as you did on the other side, line up those raw edges of the fabric with the raw edge of the zipper tape, and then use your foot down this seam and attach the zipper in there too. So now the second side is completed. It should look something like this. If you open it out, you have your 2 pieces of outer fabric with the zipper in the middle, and if you turn over, you have the 2 pieces of the lining fabric like that. And you need to take this over now to your ironing board and just press this open. Pull everything away from the zip because we don't want any of the fabric to catch, and then just press down these seams, and then you'll take it back to the sewing machine and using your zipper foot again, just top stitch close to the edge on this side and on this side, and that's going to keep those layers of fabric in place. Otherwise, when you're using it, maybe you've probably had it with a zip once before, sometimes the lining can get caught in the zip, so we need to top stitch to make sure these are going to stay out of the way. You can see now that the top stitching is completed next to my zip. So now we need to turn this into a bag shape. And if you open these out, and you're going to pin along these bottom part. So obviously it's a little bit fiddly because we're working with quite a small bag. So just pop a pin there to hold that in place, and then you're going to stitch all the way along the bottom of the outer fabric. Now when it comes to the lining, we have to do it a little bit differently because we need to leave a gap in the centre to turn the bag the right way out later on. So all you're going to do is just sew 1 inch on each side. So sew from here and sew from here. I'll do that and then come back. So that's the main part of the bag sewn for now. It has this little gap in the bottom that we're leaving open, and we can set that to one side because we now need to work on the little zipper pulls. So to do that, just take one of your squares of fabric, fold it in half, right sides together, and stitch a narrow seam about 1/4 inch down here, and do exactly the same for the other one. Stitch down here, and then press those open and turn these pieces inside out so the right sides are on the outside. So my little tab that's going to go on the end of my bag is now completed. I've turned it to the outside and pressed it so that the seam here is in the middle. And then there's a couple of ways that you can attach it to your key ring. You might just use one of these split rings and put it in through there, and then you can just attach it to your key ring that way. But I've also been to the hardware store. I don't have a store near me that sells handbag bits and pieces, but there are places online. I'll maybe put a link in the blog post about where you can find these kind of things, but I just found this one at my local hardware store. It's a little bit heavier duty than I'd probably like to use, but it will do, seeing I couldn't get a handbag one. And I'm just going to fold the tab through the end like that, and that means that I can then clip it easily onto my keys when I pop out. But for the example, just to keep it nice and lightweight, I'm just going to use this one with the ring. And we need to take the bag that we've now folded, that we've now sewn, just undo the zipper about halfway. And if you fold it so that the seam here in the centre is going to centre over the zipper, open out the lining and do the same just there. So these edges here and here will line up, and you'll have the seam from the lining here and the seam from the outer here both lined up with the zipper tape. And I'm just going to put a pin on either side just to hold those in place. Now of course we have our little zipper tab. I want to put that in place now. So I'll fold that with the ring already in it, and I'm just going to slide that in here so it will be between these layers where the outside of the fabric is. And I'll put it like that so that it lines up nicely with the zipper tape. It's going to give me a little bit thick and awkward now to sew, so I probably won't put a pin, but because I've made it nice and long, I can make sure that these are sticking out and that they're going to be square when I sew. And I need to just do the same at the other end. Hold the zip together, even up these seams through the centre of the zip, and I'll put my other zipper tab in this other end. And then it's just a case of sewing all the way through all the layers through this end and this end. So I'll do that and then we'll come back. Okay, so the little bag is starting to take shape now, and our zipper is too long, so I'm just going to snip that, and at the same time I'm going to cut quite close to this stitching line here because I want to try and remove a lot of bulk. It's only going to be a small little pouch, so I don't want to have great big seams on it. So I'll cut close to those stitches but not through. Do the same on this other end. Okay, now it's time to turn the right way. So where we've left this little opening just here, I'm going to turn the whole pouch out through that opening. Okay, so it'll still be inside out. Just going to manipulate this a little bit, poke out these corners so they're nice and sharp. If you've got a little tool you can, otherwise you can use your fingernail. I'm not going to fuss too much for that, I'll do that in a little bit. But now you can see just where we've left the opening in the bottom of the bag, just here, and it has a little fold just there, and it's just a case of taking a hand sewing needle and thread and just now invisibly stitching this closed, or at least as neatly as you can, and that will then finish the bottom of that bag. So I'll do that now and then we'll come back and have a look at our next steps. So the bottom of my bag is now sewn closed, and if you wanted to you could just now turn the right side out and use the little bag as it is, but I do like to box the corners. Here's one that I made earlier and it's got little boxed corners on the end, and I think that looks nice, so I'm just going to do the same with this one. So to box these corners, make sure first of all that they're pressed out nice and square, and then we're just going to take each one in turn. If you put your finger inside and then press that corner flat so that the seam is halfway up the corner like this, and that is pressed nice and flat. And then if you take a little ruler, and we need to sew a line that's 1 inch long, so I'm just going to take my seam gauge or a small ruler here and draw a line 1 inch long from side to side, just there. And then I'm going to stitch through all the layers on this line, and I'll repeat that for all 4 corners. So I'll come to this one, flan it out nicely so that that seam is running up through the centre. Make sure the layers are all smooth. I'll take my seam gauge, and when it's at the right place, draw a line 1 inch long, and that will be my boxed corner. So I'll do that for all 4 sides and then sew through, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. So there we are, I've boxed these 4 corners, and already it's gone from being flat to being a little boxy shape. So now all we need to do is just turn it the right way out and poke out those corners so they're nice and sharp. Do the same at this end. There we go, and our little bag is completed. So I've got the larger clip at this end, a little bit too large really for this bag, but you get the idea of what you can do. Or if you want to, you can just have a regular ring at this end, or at the other end just to pop on your keyring. And that's it, a tiny little boxy bag completed to go with your keys. I hope you'll enjoy sewing it. Thank you for watching.